blazing bullets, rippling muscles, broken bones, and explosions. The 80s took action movies to heights that had never been seen before, blowing audiences away across the world. It also opened the door to a whole new class of actor and character type, the action hero. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. At no cost to you, every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 greatest action films of the 80s. Number 1. Commando. While Arnold Schwarzenegger was steadily making a name for himself already through cameo appearances and his role as Conan the Barbarian, this is the film that full-on launched him into action hero history. It inspired countless copycats, while itself was kind of an over-the-top parody of 70s action films like Death Wish. The plot is simple. John Matrix is a retired Special Forces soldier living in a remote cottage with his young teen daughter. Soon he is visited by his old commander, who informs him that his old team members are being wiped out one by one. Almost immediately after learning this, his house is attacked and his teen daughter taken. Turns out, a long time ago, his unit had dealings with some Venezuelan dictator, and he now wants to be back in power. So if Matrix helps assassinate the current president, his daughter gets to live. Of course, he doesn't believe a word of this, and as soon as he can, starts dispatching his captors and hunting down the rest of them to rescue his daughter. A bunch of brutal kills and quippy one-liners later, and all is well. It's a thrill ride that never slows down, so be sure to put this one on your watch list ASAP. You can check it out over on Amazon Prime, Fandango, and Apple TV. Number 2. Bloodsport. Originally, this was pitched and released as the true story of Frank Dukes, an American who entered an underground martial arts tournament and won. But today we know that many of those facts were made up from various other people's accomplishments. The film starts off with Dukes kind of on the run as he seems to have gone AWOL from a military station, so he can enter into this fighting tournament. He meets another American, a pro wrestler, and becomes fast friends with them. A flashback scene reveals that when Dukes was a teenager, he broke into the home of Senzo Tanaka to steal a sword and was caught. As punishment, he was enlisted to help do chores and also learn discipline through martial arts. He eventually learns the sacred technique called the Dim Mak, otherwise known as the Death Touch. Back at the tournament, he fights his way through the ranks, but at one point, his friend is injured badly by the previous year's champion, Chong Li. This intensifies Duke's attitude, so he fights harder and harsher to make it to the final round. It is an epic movie filled with an amazing soundtrack, and the film has this mystical and mythical feel to everything. Highly recommend you give it a watch, especially if you're a fan of things like early Dragon Ball Z. You can find it on AMZ+, Philo, Sling TV, Amazon Prime, Roku, and Apple TV. Number 3. Best of the Best. Based on true events from Philip Ree's life, this film follows a group of American martial artists who form a team to participate in the International Martial Arts Competition. They must face the South Koreans, which one of the members has a personal history with Tommy Lee, the captain of the American team. His brother was killed during one of the tournaments some years back. The film unfolds like many modern-day sports films, showing the team build a brotherhood with each other and train their skills, finally leading up to the big main event. Blood, sweat, and even some tears are shed throughout this glorious film. So if you're looking for action and also that uplifting feeling when the underdog steps up, then this film is for you. Check it out over on Amazon Prime, Fandango, and Apple TV. Number 4, RoboCop. Paul Verhoeven is best known for his anti-capitalistic, subversive, and satirical style, and nothing embodies that more than RoboCop. From the over-the-top violence to the insane fake commercials and the extreme behavior of these corporate suits for this ultimately powerful weapons manufacturer, the film just keeps you intrigued from start to finish. Murphy is a cop in Detroit where, just like Demolition Man, crime has become so dangerous the state is thinking of militarizing its police force. One of the terrorist criminals running rampant throughout the city, Clarence Boddicker, played by the wonderful Kurtwood Smith, is being secretly paid by one of these corporations to cause as much chaos as possible, so that in turn the company can sell their new gear to the police. Unfortunately, when Murphy encounters him and his gang, he is blown away in brutal fashion, cut to ribbons by so many bullets that the MPAA was about to give this film an X rating. However, that's not the end of Murphy's role in the story, as his remains are brought to a lab and combined with a cyborg body to become the world's first cyborg super cop. Recently, a video game based on the franchise was released, which allows you to experience Detroit through the indestructible lawman. But if you just want to watch it unfold, you can check it out over on Hulu, Amazon Prime, and Max. Number 5, Lethal Weapon. Probably one of the best buddy cop film franchises out there, and that's solely due to the amazing chemistry between Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. I don't know if they knew each other outside of the film prior to making it, but when watching it, it's like they've been friends for decades, and that same feeling carries on through all the sequels, and hopefully in the upcoming 5th and final installment. Basically, Riggs lost his wife when he was an undercover cop in Vice. Before being a police officer, he was a sharpshooter for the Marines in Vietnam. These things have given him a form of PTSD which nears its breaking point, causing him to contemplate taking his own life. Murtaugh, on the other hand, is a distinguished homicide detective who just had his 50th birthday and is thinking of retiring from the force. Through misfortune, these two are forced to partner together as they bumble about with a case involving a hooker falling out of a 10th-story window. They soon stumble on a massive case involving ex-Marines and CIA operatives smuggling in drugs and distributing them. It has an absolutely killer soundtrack, and the chemistry between the two lead actors is phenomenal. I recommend checking out the entire quadrilogy, which you can find streaming over on Philo, Fandango, Amazon Prime, and Apple TV. Number 6, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Harrison Ford had already gained fame with his role as Han Solo in the Star Wars franchise, and that roguish attitude and square-jawed good looks helped propel this film into the limelight. Ancient tombs, tricky thieves, and sadistic Nazis populate this grandiose film about a history professor who spends his weekends diving into old ruins and stealing artifacts that he can then sell to the museum or the government if it's more dangerous than just a simple relic. The story in this film in particular involves the Ark of the Covenant, an ancient Jewish chest that apparently houses the power of God. Currently, there are 5 films in the franchise in total, with a 6th reboot on the way possibly in 2025. If you're looking for adventure as well as action, with plenty of roguelike characters, the Indiana Jones are fun and entertaining from start to finish. Check them out over on Disney+, Fandango, Amazon Prime, and Apple TV. Number 7, Aliens. A huge departure from the tone of the first film in the franchise, it nevertheless feels right at home in the same universe and does an incredible job at continuing the story of Ellen Ripley while fleshing out her character even more. Set 52 years after the events of the first film, Ripley has been floating through space, frozen in time in her cryopod with her cat Jonesy. She's found by a salvage crew and resuscitated and brought back to the company she worked for, Wayland Yutani. They accuse her of being responsible for the costly destruction of an entire mining ship and basically kind of fire her, even though she tells the truth about her claims of an alien being on board. During this debriefing, she finds out in the years between that, the company established a base on the planet where they picked up the alien. And people have been living there for quite some time without incident. While using her logs of where they discovered the eggs, the company sent some people to check it out, which of course results in a massive outbreak back at Hadley's Hope. So Burke, a company man, convinces Ripley to accompany a group of space marines to the colony and rescue any survivors. There's also a deep narrative about family, and especially motherhood, laced throughout. A common theme Cameron often injects into his films. Great cast, epic score, action-packed, and terrifying. Be sure to check out the entire franchise over on Hulu, Amazon Prime, and Apple TV.
Hey folks, sorry to interrupt, but we just launched our very own merch store at fatninja.shop. We sell everything from t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more, so we would greatly appreciate it if you checked it out. All the proceeds go to our future projects, so it helps us make any kind of movies and short films that we want to make in the future. So if you got time, check out fatninja.shop. Thanks again, and back to the video.
Number 8, Predator. Fun fact, Jean-Claude Van Damme was originally supposed to be playing the alien hunter in this film, but due to scheduling issues and problems with the suit, he had to step away. A group of Special Forces Army Rangers are deployed into Cambodia during one of the hottest summers on record to rescue some POWs. Or at least that's what they're told. In fact, they are rescuing another squad of soldiers who were sent in much earlier to do some sort of CIA Black Ops style wet work. However, what none of them realize is that an 8-foot-tall alien hunter has arrived and is currently stalking through the jungle looking for the toughest prey it can find to pass some sort of ascendance ritual. Now, these aren't your average soldiers. These guys are all massive mountains of muscle, trained to be elite killing machines, the top of the line warriors. And they don't even stand a chance against this monster. Probably one of the best action films ever made. You have to check it out, and its sequels if you hunger for more, over on Hulu, Fandango, Amazon Prime, and Apple TV. Number 9, The Road Warrior. After having huge success with Mad Max, George Miller got thrice the budget to make a sequel, and he did not leave a penny unspent, upping the action tenfold and making one of the coolest apocalyptic Carmageddon action films before he did it again with 2015's Fury Road. The Road Warrior, also known as Mad Max, follows Max Rokatansky as he races his supercharged black V8 pursuit cruiser across the wasteland looking for food and petrol while outmaneuvering other raiders and scavengers, until he runs into Lord Humongous, a dangerous homicidal maniac and leader of a bunch of bike-riding vandals who are terrorizing small communities. It's gritty, action-packed, and full of crazy characters, and an absolute must-watch for fans of apocalyptic dystopian films. So be sure to check it out for yourself over on Fandango, Amazon Prime, and Apple TV. Number 10, The Terminator. While this is technically more of a horror film, I would say it's one of the first films of its kind to blend the action and horror genres together. Essentially, the Terminator is like a slasher villain, unkillable and unstoppable, stalking his target, a young helpless girl. But Chuck can time travel, a future protector, and enough bullets to fight off an entire platoon of insurgents. And this film becomes an action-packed thriller along the way. Basically, a cyborg killing machine with a human exterior is sent back in time to kill the woman who would eventually give birth to the leader of the resistance in the future. However, Kyle Reese, a soldier in the rebel forces, is also sent back in order to protect the mother, Sarah Connor. Sarah is a simple girl, working at a diner as a waitress and looking into getting lucky in love with finding Mr. Right. In the later installments, the films are much more over the top and bombastic. But in the first film, it's much more terrifying. Arnold Schwarzenegger is so cold and emotionless as the T-800, a hulking mass of deadly power that continues after her with unstoppable intimidation. There are now 6 films in the franchise, as well as a spin-off TV series and an anime series coming out in 2025. So be sure to check it out over on AMC Plus, Philo, Sling TV, Amazon Prime, Roku, and Apple TV, so you can catch up on the timeline shenanigans. Thanks for checking out the video. What's your favorite 80s action film? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. We recently launched our own merch store, so be sure to check that out, also linked below. I've been your host, Jamie. Take care and see you soon.